hello, hello. Welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage. It is Monday, May 2nd, 2022, and I hope everyone had a good week and or weekend. The weather is changing. It's getting warmer. In fact, I had to turn the AC on in the house today. Yeah. So, current temperature is about 85 degrees here in Georgia, and something makes me want to sneeze, and I hope I don't have that happen just yet. So, um, anyway, I want to thank everybody for being here. If you're new to this live stream, I do this on Monday nights, and we talk mostly about cars and stuff going on around the car industry, let's say. Try to focus on classic cars, which I consider 50s, mid 50s up into the 60s, or maybe some of the early 70s cars. But sometimes we go off the chart and go into newer cars. So if you have a question about a car or some trouble you're having with a project, by all means, ask. If I can answer the question, I will. If I can't, I've got a good group of people over here on the chat, and they generally have good answers. And so with that, good answers get a bell. Little reward system I have. Encourage people to participate so you can get a bell. I also give bells for random reasons on occasion, and that's completely up to me. There are no rules, or I make up the rules as I go. But anyway, we're going to see who's here tonight and see what we can discuss. So right off the top, Terry Keithley was here early. Good evening, everyone in Barrie. Hope everyone is safe. Please hit the thumbs up and like button. Thank you kindly. Yes, thank you, Terry. Appreciate you being here. Dawn's Manufactory. Good evening, folks. Hope you are all doing well. Likewise. Ed Cucciarella. Hello, all. Glad you're here, Ed. Steve Grimes. Good evening, all from South Central Pennsylvania. Glad you're here, Steve. Jerry checking in from the Money Pit in Middle Tennessee. Glad you're here, Jerry. Nandu. Good evening, all. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Jerry says, we're getting ready for a storm. Yeah. Well, I don't know what we obviously summer's on its way. We've got some chance of showers. Well, today even, Wednesday and Friday. But the temperatures, yeah, it's going to be warm beginning of this week. It'll drop a little bit, but yeah, summer's coming. So I hope you're not having, a bad storm. Bob Shoemaker, good evening all from possible tornado weather, Oklahoma. That could be any time, though, couldn't it, Bob? In Oklahoma, Kansas, that area? Isn't it like always an option for a tornado? It seems that way, at least when we watch the news. It's like another tornado hit in, Kansas or, that part of the country. So hopefully there's not a tornado. I know that there was some footage I saw recently. I forget which state it was in. But man, I think they shot it with a drone footage or something, and that tornado was just, it was just quite the angle. Normally we see stuff from the ground and stuff being ripped up into the sky from ground view, from people's phones or camcorders or whatever. But this was a drone that was up higher, and it was picking up the creation of the tornado itself, and then also just pulling stuff off the ground. It was pretty scary to see that. Pretty scary. So stay safe, Bob. Leonard, evening all from the high desert. How's everyone doing? I'm doing pretty good, I think. Hope you are too as well, Leonard. I assume you got the email I sent you. I assume. Ron, good evening from the Tri-Cities in Northeast Tennessee. Glad you're here, Ron. And Hindsight 67, Roger, checking in from next door. I'll give you a bell, Roger, for checking in. You don't normally get a bell, so you get a bell tonight. Charlie Seidelman. Hi, everyone. Clark. Save the neck for me, Clark. Hello, Clark. Glad you're here. Colin Magruder. Hey there from upstate New York. Hello, Colin. I'll give you a bell for having Colin as a name. That's different. I know Clark. Okay, we get one too. Hooked on Classic. Simone is here. Eating Berry and Chat. I'm currently working my procrastination and waiting for my replacement axle. Well, hopefully it shows up soon. And yeah, procrastination, that's a pretty common thing, I think. Nick. Glad you're here, Nick. How's the Mustang coming? I hope it's coming well. Rick Gain, weather is definitely getting warmer and the motivation to do things outside is increasing. Hope everybody's doing well. Yes, thank you, Rick. Dave Conville checking in from New Jersey. Colin Magruder, building blocks to level out my coupe to get some work done soon. Good. Give you another bell for that. Good idea. Rick Stevenson checking in. Glad you're here, Rick. Shane checking in. I believe Pennsylvania, right? I believe it's Pennsylvania. Crash Rider, greetings from lovely southern Indiana. Hit the thumbs up button. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. And participate. Don't forget that. Participate. Denny Alvey, good evening from Paducah, Kentucky. I just like saying Paducah. I've said it before. Ron, hey Barry, I'm hoping you can help me. I built a 351 Cleveland and getting ready to fire it up the first time and found a small coolant leak coming from the bell housing. Any ideas where it's coming from? Yeah. Yeah, I do. Okay, typically what you find, I ran into a similar problem with Jade when I was firing up the engine. You'll find likely that your water jacket is leaking. I'm assuming, I don't know what all's been done to the engine, if it's a rebuild completely or not. But a lot of times when the intake manifold is set in place, the water jacket, there's a port in the back. And a lot of times you can have a leak right there. It could be from the water jacket itself at the back of the gasket. But really, you can isolate it down. Essentially, look at what your water jacket is. You've got the cylinder heads, you've got the intake manifold, and you're going to have, based on where it's at, should kind of give you an idea. So if it's up high at the bell housing, it's going to be above the lower portion of the engine block. So I'm going to point to the intake manifold and gasket. That's my guess. So otherwise, you really don't have much else up there. In the back, that's all you have. In the front, you have your water neck, you have your water heater connections, your outlets. So, the Cleveland's a dry intake? Really? Really? I guess I didn't know that. Dry intake. How does it manage that? You have to have water up at the cylinder heads. How does water get side to side? So it has a dry intake manifold. So what's the water passage? How does the coolant get around? I didn't know that. So there goes my guess. I'm gone. And Steve also says Cleveland engine has a dry intake. Well, then your choices are, I'd have to still be confident that you've got fluid going through the cylinder heads, right? So now you look at where the next connection, which would be the head gaskets. Are they installed correctly? Was there something that got caught up or, misaligned? So, I haven't looked at a Cleveland to know about the dry intake. Roger points out, are there freeze plugs on the back of the block like a small block Chevy? That was my other thought. But I would think, if the freeze plug was out of alignment, slightly crooked, it should have freeze plugs. It should. You're going to have fluid moving. So there's got to be... let's see. Wait. Sorry. Rick Stevenson says water goes through the front of the block. But it still has to have... it still goes through the cylinder heads. So... maybe... let me see what it says here. Bob says, only head gasket or heater hose dripping down on bell housing. So back to the head gasket idea. Sammy Lisa Smith, freeze plugs, maybe. Jenny Alvey, Cleveland has a pan under the intake. Water feeds through the block similar to a 460. Okay, then I'm going to have to go with My guess would be the head gasket. But heater hose, I guess that's an option. It could be, assuming it's installed. I don't know. Ron says no freeze plugs on the back, cam tunnel plug, and a couple oil galley plugs, but no water jacket freeze plugs back there. Okay, so I'm unfamiliar with the Cleveland. Leonard points out Cleveland intake is dry heads, don't pass water through the intake, and they don't have freeze plugs in the rear. Well, then I'm going to have to lean towards the head gasket. And Rick says frost plug most likely. That's a possibility. But as leaking on the top of the bell housing, well, he said no freeze plugs back there. But are there freeze plugs in the cylinder head? That could be an option too. Let me get caught up on some of these up here. I missed a couple people. Rick Stevenson, okay. Are you ready for some more coffee? Yeah. Got some right here. Okay. Nick, Mustang is getting, I read that wrong, Nick. When I first saw that, I didn't read that as wired. In my mind, I read weird. So I was thinking, Mustang is getting weird right now. Wired makes more sense, though. I get it. Been getting hammered at my job, so it slowed down for a minute. Yeah, I understand that. Things slow us down sometimes. Douglas Weingart. Hey, Barry and all, hoping for the best for you all. Thank you, Doug. Give you a bell for that. And for Weingarten. That's a different name. I can appreciate that. Crash Rider, I don't know how to spell participate. Okay. You got pretty close on that guess, though. Where are we at? Nick, I've also plumbed the fuel system and had brakes too. Closer to firing it every week. Maybe I'll do it live with you guys if it lands on a Monday. Well, you can make it land on a Monday. I'm pretty sure of that. Charlie, mind if I just listen and be entertained while I move stuff around in the garage and try to get organized, also painting the block walls to make it an appealing man cave. Oh, okay. Well, then that's fine, too. Listen in. Leonard says, I must have missed something there. All right, we'll skip ahead. Jerry, I don't know what are we saying here? We missed a word or something. A welded engine panel for the two pieces. Okay, for a single stamp panel, i.e. the factory welds the two pieces together. Oh, is a welded engine panel for the two-piece okay for a single stamp panel? It really doesn't matter, Jerry, in my opinion. I doubt anybody's going to go, oh, that's, this would have been made this way. This isn't correct. I wouldn't even make it a big deal. If you're going to put the VIN number in it, and either you weld it in or stamp it in, I don't see where it's going to be that big a deal. These cars have had so much work done to them over the years. Things get replaced. And, it's as simple as saying, I bought it that way. Really, when it comes down to it. I don't know. I don't see it being that big a deal. Simone, I had a look at a Mustang 2 yesterday at a local show. The front end was really high off the ground, and it looked odd. So I wonder if it was a V8 car and they didn't have a V8. They put like a smaller engine in it or something. That could be a possibility. All right, so we're getting caught back up on the Cleveland question. Okay. Ray Buckman. Hello, folks. Glad you're here, Ray. Drakkar Viking. Hi. Listen here. Okay. Ron, heater hose are brand new and completely dry. Okay, so that's not the thing. Denny, Cleveland's are bad about the water jacket cracking in the head. So there we go. We can eliminate that. Ron says cylinder heads are new trick flow aluminum heads. Okay. Well, you're running out of options pretty quick. It feels like it's a head gasket. So the best you could probably do is fire it up, assuming you want to do this, fire it up and take a mirror and a light and put them on the back of the cylinder head and see if you can't find the trickle where it's coming from. Otherwise, your choices are pretty limited as to what it could be. Nick says, well, that too. Okay, talking about the weird. Rick Stevenson, I got you some more 1820 on my last trip. Oh, well, that sounds cool. Yeah, I'd definitely take some of that. I would definitely take some of that, Rick. Thank you. Give you a bell, too. Ron says, thanks, everyone, for the ideas and suggestions. You're welcome. Leonard, can you see if the water is dripping between the flywheel and the block? That's okay. That's another good question. And Ron says, Leonard, I think it is. Okay. Jerry, I just got notified my new clutch for hydraulic assembly is shipping. Well, that's a plus. That's a good thing. Shane, what cylinder did you use between the lower quarter panel where it meets the rocker? Couldn't remember which video it was on. Oh, okay. Now, I will tell you, I used brushable seam sealer, Evercoat, brushable, but I think I have a different recommendation. Hold on just a second. I have another recommendation. Eastwood high solid seam sealer. I like this stuff. So this, I don't know what the part number is, if there is a part number, but it says it right on the tube. Fast curing, non-sagging, paintable in 60 minutes, permanently flexible, withstands weathering, oxidation, salt exposure, gas, and most solvents. So from now on my exterior seams, I'll be using this stuff. Hope that helps. Let's see. Scott, are you going to put one of the big blocks in basket case? I don't plan to. At this point, basket case is just to get it together. Get it as a sheet metal finished vehicle, and probably sell it at that point. That's the plan. Hold on a second. So Simone says, sorry, Barry, I can't stay. I'm exhausted. Good night, all. Thank you for being here, Simone. But anyway, Scott, yeah, the plan, well, let's put it this way. Let me back up a couple steps. The first plan was to build this car and either put in, I have a 350 engine sitting back here, and I have a TH350 transmission that I could put into this car and just make it, have it drivable, actually. The radiator's in it. I've got everything's here other than the engine and tranny, as far as the car, being ready to go. And I say everything's, what I mean is I have those pieces. So it can be put together. The other option, which was my second option, was to drop an LS in it. So I have an LS engine. I have a transmission. So that was the other thought, was to make it an LS car. And then option 3, of course, is the big blocks. Now, I'm probably not too interested in putting a big block in this car. I'd rather sell the big blocks, get my money out of them, and have more space in the shop, and move on to whatever the next thing is. So at this point, sheet metal only. That's the plan. Colin, got my hands on a 428 Cobra Jet. Think I can get it and power steering in my 66 coupe. No shock towers in front end. Sure you can. No shock towers? Yeah. I don't see why not. I'm assuming you're putting in like a Mustang 2 style front suspension. I don't know what brand you may be using, but they build them to hold just about anything. So yeah, I think you could do that. That sounds cool. Kind of scary, Little lightweight car, a lot of engine. Steve, pump pressure and cooling system with cap tester. That's a good idea too. You know, the other thing is, they make these UV testers, UV light. I don't know. I don't know. I've never tried it. I don't know if you need to. Let's say you drained out all the antifreeze, and I don't know if they make they have the UV testers for AC stuff. So if it starts leaking, you can actually see where it comes from. I don't know if that's an option with the heater or the cooling system, whether you can add something to it or if it'll pick up on the fluorescence possibly of the antifreeze. If they have something, I don't know, that registers with it. So that's another option, but a great idea, Steve, to pressurize it. Clark, drop the trans and pressure test the cooling system. There you go. Same thing. Let's see. Leonard, Ford had a problem with the block cracking in the early years of that engine. Okay. So we don't know what year the engine is, the Cleveland engine. We know he's got some good heads on it and stuff, but don't know what year the engine is. Nick, yeah, that's what I've been using. Good seam sealer. Yeah, I like that stuff. Jerry, the order drive line has been in for 10 weeks. Oh, the order has been in for 10 weeks. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, we're still going to have this continuing delay on parts and materials and whatnot. I was communicating with somebody earlier in the week. They were wanting to put in a floor pan. I don't know if it was the 65 to 68 body, same pan. And they couldn't find, or it was a coupe / fastback pan was unavailable, but they could get a convertible pan. And they said, "These are major differences." And the only real difference is, of course, the inner rocker, and then secondly, you have to modify the firewall to make it fit that. But a lot of people are doing that because it makes for a stronger car. So he ended up ordering the convertible floor pan. He had considered the 69 to 70 pan. From what he was thinking, I think they commented that the tranny tunnel was slightly bigger, and I don't know if there's other differences or not. Like the wheelbase, I don't know if it's slightly off. Something tells me it probably is, but I don't know for sure. Rick, sorry, Apple still won't allow me to send a super sticker once verification, which I verify, and it still doesn't work. Well, thanks for the effort, Rick. I do appreciate the effort. Thank you. Drakkar, I put my armor on to show y'all how strong I am. Okay. But it's working. It's working, man. We're all kind of like, oh, please, no. Ron, engine is a 71. Now, I guess, I know whenever I've had engines rebuilt, they Magnaflux them and all that stuff, make sure they're good castings. I'm assuming they did that with this engine. But you never know. You never really know. Until you're putting everything together and suddenly you have fluid where you don't want it. In my case, I know the 302 I put in, I had a friend of mine rebuild it for me. And I did the thing that I shouldn't do. And that was assume. Because when I got it back, it had the intake manifold on it. The intake was taped off. And I assumed that everything was bolted tight and ready to go. And apparently it wasn't. And they were snug, the bolts were snugged down enough to hold everything. And I put everything together, fired up the engine, got excited, and I'm looking at it and watching things happen, and all of a sudden I see antifreeze coming out of the back. And that's why I leaned towards that real quick. And then I was like, well, what's going on here? Why is it leaking? Of course, shut everything down, start pulling, draining fluid out to try to figure it out. And I went to break loose the intake, and it was like, oh, these are all finger tight. They're not even torqued. and I was surprised it ran. You know, of course, it's just going to suck more air in. But I pulled the intake off, and there was no, there. It had intake gaskets, I think, in place. I don't remember exactly, but I think it was missing the front and rear seals as well. You know, the little compression seals. So I was like, that's interesting. So luckily it didn't get a lot. It got a little bit of antifreeze in the oil galley, but I was able to clean that up real quick. And then, oh, sorry, I'm seeing something else happen. So anyway, I was cleaning that up, and then I put in my sealant and buttoned everything back down, and it was fine. But that's one of those times where it's like, assume that it's been done. And you never know. Leonard, that was going to be my question. Did the MagnaFlux the block? Yeah. That's a good question. Track Car Viking. It's a Sia song, Unstoppable Lyrics. Sorry, Joe, wrong podcast. Well, we're still intimidated by you putting on your armor. Just saying. Just saying, man. Just saying. So you're looking at multiple podcasts or multiple live streams at the same time. Okay. Well, I'm glad you're here anyway. Okay. Ron says, it was MagnaFlux, but I have lost confidence in the machine shop that did the work. I think I will use the UV dye and pressure test it. Okay. That's probably a good choice. Because really, like I said, your options are pretty limited as to where it could be coming from. But, you know, when you try to look at the bright side or good side of some of this, the good thing is you noticed it, or, you know, it was showing itself enough that you found it. It would be really bad to be putting everything, you know, completely together, shutting the hood and going for a drive, and all of a sudden it's blowing steam out of it because it failed. So technically it's a good thing to find it, I think. I'm assuming you're at that point, you know, if you're just breaking it in. But yeah, try to look at the bright side. Try to. I have a couple things that I did want to mention. Besides, I'm glad that was brought up about this seam seal, because, you know, that's some good stuff. So I'm glad that was brought up. But this past week, I was looking for, and I mentioned in my Patreon video, that I'd been looking for a hole punch tool, right? And if you go looking for those things, you've got the long cylindrical looking ones, you know, from like Harbor Freight, and they work, but they don't make a 5/16 hole. And that's what I wanted. I wanted a 5/16 hole. And so I started looking on Amazon, and I was checking out some stuff on there, and I came across a tool, and I bought it. So I've tried it out. I want to show you what that tool looks like. I like this. This thing's kind of industrial. You know, if you look at the Harbor Freight little long cylindrical punch tool, it's nothing compared to this. Now, the reason I picked this one out, I had no other reason to pick this out other than, if I can get this in here, this. It has this adjustment. So you can see that going in. And I'm going to show this on one of my future videos. But you can adjust how deep you want it to go on the panel. Typically, the Harbor Freight one, you've only got, you know, that much space. So if you're up close to the edge and you're trying to put in a bigger hole, you're punching out the edge. Or you are unable to put it where you want it. So let me just show you. And this was an experiment. This piece, this isn't regular sheet metal. This is 55 thousandths. Okay. This is actually part of the rocker panel, the front portion of the rocker panel for the Camaro on the passenger side, where it goes underneath the A-pillar. And I wanted to see what it would do. So you can see it punched a hole, 55 thousandths. And it could probably go thicker. But what I found was, and it's really hard to demonstrate this, it made a deflection on the hole. And I probably can't angle that good enough. What I mean by that is it punched through, and either on the return, I think it punched from this side, it actually raised, I don't know, it can't, there you see the little reflection? It raised the edge of the hole a little bit, which is not a big deal. You know, if you're punching these holes, odds are you're going to, you know, dolly them down if you need to, get them in the right position. So this thing worked well. And the other thing that I did was I did a test on the old wheelhouse from the Camaro. And so I know the light doesn't help right now. So if you look, what can I get? So you can look and see this series of holes up here at the top. So I have that much, you know, it's just random placement. And then this other hole here and this one, trying to point backwards. These two holes, I put it deeper in with that adjusting tool, and it just punched right through this thing. So I'm really looking forward to using it to setting up the all the weld holes in these panels. Now, I don't even know. I think when I ordered this, there's not even a name on it, which is kind of weird. But when I ordered it, it came in a box, and basically it was like they just threw this in a box. So I was disappointed with that part of it. Like, literally, this is the box it came in. I had a plastic bag around it. There is, inside the box, there's two wrenches floating around, two really generic wrenches. There's an instruction sheet that you can all read. You can all read that, right? Pretty easy. Yeah. Same thing on the back. More instruction sheet. So I'm assuming again, that you can, you know, get different bits for this thing, or different, you know, mandrels, whatever. But it shows you a breakdown of all the pieces and parts. And then, you know, something here, some pictures. I don't know. But all I really wanted it for was the 5/16. I wasn't worried about having a smaller, you know, smaller hole. And I just noticed I didn't even realize. The bag, it's got one of the big air fittings in it. You know, the, what do they call them, the M? Is it the M series or whatever? I don't remember. There's another one with a 1/4 inch, which has a bigger fitting. So I couldn't use this anyway. Not yet, anyhow. So anyway, I'll probably look into getting the, maybe getting some other cutters for it. But at this point, I'm not worried about it. It just needs to operate. It just needs to operate. So what I will likely do is I'll do a video on it with, you know, working on the panels and stuff. I'll post a link to that product on Amazon, and I can also post it as one of my tools that is in my recommendations or whatever. I have, you know, multiple pages on Amazon. Boy, these wrenches, man, state of the art. These, you can't tell, but they're not even deburred. There's like, these things were stamped out, I think. I don't know. They're really, yeah, okay. I don't think I'll be using these. Even the end's kind of twisted on that one. Yeah. Those are decoration pieces. So, let me see what else we have here. Nick, is there a temperature sending unit anywhere back there by chance? They're usually up front, of course, but hey, spitballing. That could be, you never know. Could be. I'll give you a bell for spitballing. Leonard, my Mustang block was cracked on a left water jacket. I drilled and plugged it. Okay, that's good, as long as it holds up. Derek, hi Barry, everyone. Hope all is well. Saw your photos on Facebook. Great looking bunch. Love the photos of when you were younger. You look like David Cassidy. Oh, yeah. Thanks, Derek. It was a long time ago. Nick, I recently bought a chamfering tool off of Amazon. It's amazing. Well, do you have a part number? What kind of chamfering tool? Charlie, wow, nice features on that hole punch. Yeah, because, like I said, there's the other ones, they're short. Yeah, I'm giving up the flanging tool, but do I really need the flanging tool? Or can I go to Harbor Freight and pay $30 for the flanging tool that happens to have a hole punch in it? That's where I'm at. Steve, I have an air riveter that uses that body. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it seems to work. Jay Rodriguez, climb to glory. Right of the line. Right of the line. Bob Shoemaker, got to go. All right, well, I'm glad you're here, Bob. Sorry you got to go, but I'm glad you were here. Glad you were here. Okay. So anyway, that's the status of my hole punch. So I'm pretty happy, at least at this point. I'm happy with what it does. There seems to be kind of a let's just say Amazon is really dominating a lot of things. We all know that. I mean, obviously the guy is rich enough that he can go up to space or whatever, build his own spaceship thing, blah blah blah. Hold on a second. RC Guy Garage. Tim, working on Big Black, but it's kicking my butt at the moment. Corrosion found at interior fuse box and cracked map sensor feed line, plus some other issues I haven't found yet. Yeah, that's about it. Well, that sounds like fun. Corrosion in wiring and fuse box. Sensor fails. Yeah, that sounds like fun. That sounds like a lot of fun. Anyway, good luck with that. What I was getting at was, we're all like the convenience of Amazon. I get it. We all get it. That's why I have an Amazon page, and I promote stuff on there. But recently, what I found, I don't know if any of you are following with this or not. I mean, you can buy obviously just about anything, but I found you can get some pretty good deals on oil from Amazon. If you need a 5-gallon jug of whatever, Amazon probably sells it. And the difficulty is, of course, we need to support our businesses around the area, local parts stores and stuff like that. But man, it's too convenient when you think about it. It's just too convenient. You go to, if I wanted a gallon of Castrol, whatever, well, I have to buy it either as a package deal from the parts store to try to make it worth my time, or I have to pay extra. If you can buy a gallon of, or 5 quarts of Castrol, and it is, say, $22 or something. That same jug at Advanced Auto Parts is usually like 27, 28, 29. Well, then it's a matter of, okay, now I have to go get in my car, drive to the parts store, pick out, and hopefully have it, get it, pick out an oil filter, or buy the package deal oil filter and stuff like that. So anyway, I found that it's pretty convenient. And I know some people are against Amazon. I get it. I do. Some people are against Walmart. I get it. It's just the way it is. But we're all looking for ways to save a buck here and there. And sometimes that's what happens. You go with a better deal. So anyway, Nick. So the chamfer tool is an Upwood DG5057. Okay, thank you for that. I have to take a look at that later. Is Vitoy. Hey Barry, been a while since I've been back. Had a couple questions regarding painting and post metalwork. Would you consider a 21-gallon compressor good enough for painting? I have no use for bigger. Honestly, I'm going to say no. 21-gallon, you don't have enough. I mean, I don't see that being practical. You start spraying, your volume's going to drop so fast, and then it's unlikely the compressor itself will keep up to try to maintain the pressure that you need. So I'm going to have to say no. In my opinion, that won't work. So I don't know what you can do to get one that's maybe bigger. Maybe you can rent one or something. But I'm going to say the 21 is too small. Second question. I don't have a garage for my car and I live in Florida. When it comes to stripping the car down to metal, should I prime it the same day or use a chemical to prevent rust? If so, what? Another good question. Well, let's see. You don't have a garage. That's a tough one because I know in Florida stuff tends to rust faster. I know, like here in Georgia, I can strip a car down and let it sit in here, well, in the garage, obviously, but it can sit around for months and not have an issue. So if you're going to do that, I'm trying to think. There was a chemical that I had used prior back at the body shop, and I don't remember what the name of it was. But it was kind of like a sealer for bare metal. I can't remember what the name of it was. Maybe it'll come to me later. But ideally, you would want to strip it down, or strip down, let's say you strip down a quarter panel, and you can get all that metal clean, and then spray it with some epoxy. And then your epoxy only has, there's no UV, as far as I know, there's no UV protectant in epoxy. So the difficulty you run into, unless you can get a tarp over it, the sun will start to break down the epoxy. So let's just say you stripped all the paint off the quarter panel, tape it off, spray it with epoxy, move on to the next panel, strip it down, a door, whatever, spray it with epoxy. And I know it makes it more difficult to do those things. Or if you can do a quarter and a door and a fender, you do the whole side of a car, something like that, tape it off, spray it down with epoxy. And then in between, keep a tarp over it, because the sun will just cause problems. And then the difficulty, again, on top of that is let's say your recoat window or your top coat window for epoxy is usually about 4 days. And not that it's that big a deal, but if you're going to spray something after that, another primer, then you have to scuff it real good to put high build primer on or filler or whatever you want to mess with. So just keep that in mind. Terry Dolbo. Okay, says hey. I'll say hey as well. Aaron, I found the Costco oil to be less than Amazon basic stuff. If you have one locally, you're a member. Yeah, I'm not a member. There's no Costco close by. So although that is appealing, it's still a matter of getting in my car, driving to point B, going through the store process, blah, 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 blah. I mean, it's a lazy thing to do, but Amazon, it's hard to beat their prices on stuff. It really is. Let's see. Rick, trying to buy oil from parts store. They will likely want the VIN and how many doors on the vehicle you intend to put. Yeah. Yeah, what color is it? Nandu, Eastwood has a product to use on bare metal called Fast Etch. Okay, thank you for that. I have not looked into that, but I'll take your word for it. Aaron is saying they do make aerosol cans of 2-part epoxy primer as long as it's an area you can scuff later. Would get the panel protected and no need for a compressor. That is a valid point. Yes. So you'd have to consider buying X number of cans of that mix stuff. Is My sister's a product manager for Eastwood, so maybe I should break the secret of my dream car to her. Well, yeah. Or is you can tell her to contact me, and I'll share products for Eastwood. Yeah. Win-win. Win-win-win. I would be happy. Look right here. Look, I just showed this earlier. Eastwood, see? See how easy that was? Eastwood. Let your sister know that they need to endorse Joe Daddy's Garage, help out and send me some stuff. I'd be all over that. Derek's saying is by a portable carport / marquee. Amazon probably has that also. Yeah, that's true. They have the portable carport, or you could buy the metal ones, enough to protect it from the sun and stuff. So, not a bad idea. I think it might try to rain on us. Thank you, Derek. Robert, I'm here finally. Well, I'm glad you're here, Robert. Everybody was wondering where you were. Steve, howdy from Texas. Haven't been on in a while. Well, I'm glad you're here, Steve. Give you a bell for that. Just for being here. What did I get? Did I get a bug? I don't know. Had something get in my mouth. Maybe it was a bug. Terry, I see Iron Man in the back window. Yep. Actually, there's a couple of Iron Men visible today. But if you notice, this is a first. That's right. I have a new addition to the Iron Man family. A new addition to the Iron Man family. It's one of those things I got on eBay, and I was like, oh, look at that. I don't have that one. Look at that. I don't have that one. There's another one coming, by the way. The one I've been looking for. So, yeah. Thank you for noticing. Y'all hear that? This must be giant raindrops hitting my roof. Kent, the black primer that the new body panels come with, what is that? They call it EDP coating, electro deposit paint or something. I think it's called, in most places, called EDP coating. What it is, it just meant, well, let's put it this way. Some people use that as a primer base for their car. Okay, so there, Robert even says electrically deposited primer. So there we go. But the stuff that's on there, it's debatable as to the quality. I have used it in the past and just gone over top of it and primed over top of it. I've had people tell me they've stripped off this stuff is here. They've stripped it off, and they found actually some rust starting to form underneath it. So, just as an example, that's the paint coming off of this thing. This has been sitting somewhat exposed to sunlight, and basically it's just rubbing off. So what I recommend is stripping all that stuff off, at least on the outside. For me, I want to take all this off and see what's under there and spray it with epoxy. That's my go-to strategy from now on. Like I said, some people will leave this and go over top of it, but the reality is I don't know what's under it, first off, and secondly, I don't know the condition or quality of it. Another thing that people have done, and I can maybe demonstrate this, is they've taken some lacquer thinner and they kind of do a test on it. So, I'll put some lacquer thinner on this paper towel right here and just rub on this, and we'll see what happens. Now it's showing some black on there, but it didn't go to bare metal. So sometimes a test like that will tell you whether it's a good primer or not. If it comes right off with lacquer thinner, get it all off of there. It's not worth having. But it's really your call. You have to determine whether you're comfortable with that. So lacquer thinner comes off, get it all off. If it hangs on, it's probably good enough to continue on and, add some primer to it. But so I just like to get rid of all of it, start over. And Barry needs Eastwood samples. Yes, by all means. They should be calling me up saying, hey, we have some stuff here we want to send you. That would be awesome. Terry, the Camaro is looking good. Yes, it is. I won't argue with that. I've been, this past week has been a lot of things taking up time. I've done 2 brake jobs, 2 oil changes. I did a car inspection to see how it was going. There's been some, just stuff like that that's taken up my time. And so I haven't really been, I did some grinding on this on the passenger side where the welds are, knocking stuff down and smoothing it out. But I do have some plans definitely for this week to get more done on this. And once I get the test fitting done on the quarters and the roof, I said it before, it's going to move pretty quick. It's going to move pretty quick going back together, in my opinion anyway. Roger, yeah, that sounds like big raindrops. Yeah. So you were hearing it here or hearing it at your house? Clark, is it multiple Ironmen or is it multiple suits? In this case, it would be multiple Ironmen. Yeah. Okay. I'll show you this one because I think this is really cool. I think this was, I think it was Iron Man 2. I think it was the second movie. So this is War Machine. If you remember War Machine. This was the one that Rhodey was in. And then Hammer Industries got a hold of it. And then they weaponized it. They put like this Gatling gun up on the top. And it had things on the arms and all that stuff. Anyway. So you have to keep an eye out and look for the War Machine. Wherever it may show up. I like that one's pretty well made too, so it's a little more industrial. The other one I have that's really detailed. If you like pull on its hand, it comes off. Not quite as durable as that thing. So anyway, and then there's one more coming. Since you asked. The first movie, they had the Mark I. That's the one he made in the cave over in Afghanistan or whatever. And so I've been looking for one of those because I like that idea. I like the idea that he built that thing, in the, and we all know it's TV and movies, right? But still the idea that he built that, from scrap stuff and the origination of Iron Man. So anyway, I've got one of those coming too. Roger can confirm it is raining. Yep. And I get quit already. Shane, don't like the EDP they use. I scuff it and reprime it. Yeah, I just take it all the way off. Robert, I didn't remove all of it, but did sand through over half the thickness of it on the quarters. Okay. Kent, thank you for the answer, though it sounds like some work for me. Restoring, modifying a 1970 Bronco half cab. Well, that's a cool project. Send me some pictures sometime. I'd like to see that. Terry, I'm getting ready to paint my 91 Mustang before it gets too hot. Oh, yeah. Yep. Heat's going to make it a challenge, that's for sure. Derek, Eastwood should do a YouTube episode with you showing products being applied on the Camaro, getting ready for paint from start to finish, win-win, and shows the guys at home doing similar process. That would be fantastic. And Robert, Eastwood's like CJ Pony as they make their own videos and not interested in other channels. Well, that's unfortunate. That is unfortunate, but I guess I understand it. That's the name of the game. They got to, control what they can. So, guess I'm out of luck on that one. What was the other thing? Oh, I did the video. I'm still waiting to hear from Yes Welder. I mentioned it, several times. They had sent me their latest CT 2050 which is a multi-process TIG machine and with a built-in plasma cutter. And they had sent me one a month ago or something, over a month ago. And they had sent it to me and asked me to shoot a video for them. So it's like for their company thing. And I opened that box and I was like disappointed because it looked like the box had been opened before. There were several things that made it appear somebody else had been into it. And so I was like, I told them, I said, something's not right with this one. So they were like, okay, we'll send you another one. So they did. They sent me another one. And again, they wanted me to shoot a video on it. So I did an unboxing for them, and I did a walkthrough of the components, connecting it to the machine, how the machine operates, and I'm waiting to hear back from them. I've sent that video to them. I mean, this is a paid thing. They're paying me to do this, and so I sent them that video, and I'm waiting to hear if they like it or not. So that actually, it's okay to do those sort of things sometimes, but it's also it takes away from this. I want to be doing just flat out car stuff, but stuff like that pays some bills, in between. So I have to kind of balance that out as best I can. But hopefully they like the video. If not, I'll have to edit it and put some more information into it. Kent, not sure what this says about my age, but the Iron Man I remember was by Metallica. I'm not sure you remember that well then. Because I don't think Metallica did a version of Iron Man. And I'm drawing the blank at the moment, but it was Ozzy Osbourne had the Iron Man song. But I'm all for Metallica, but I don't remember Metallica singing Iron Man. Iron Man was by Ozzy Osbourne. So, but I would like Metallica or Ozzy, Black Sabbath. That works. I would like to see a Metallica version of Iron Man. That would be pretty cool. Randall, put 325 gears in my 9-inch, but solid spacer shim combinations won't allow for the correct arrangement on my pinion gear. Too loose or too tight. Order another kit to get better variety of shims. Well, that's unfortunate, but I'm glad you're at least getting going to be able to figure it out. Yeah, that's not cool. Robert, now I have that song in my head. Yeah, I am Iron Man. Dun, 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 dun. Bill Goebel, let's hit that like button, guys. Yes. Get more people in here. We were up over 74 a little bit ago, but now it's down to 66, which is not uncommon. Terry, I like my Miller Magic. Yeah, Miller's a great welder. I'd be happy to be, sponsored by them as well. Roger, I thought Iron Man was Ozzy. Yes. Dawn says Black Sabbath. Boogie Bum says Black Sabbath. Randall also made one front fender from two fenders for my 67 Cougar and had a buddy give me some Bondo lessons. I hate the word Bondo. I hate it. But I understand what you're saying. Shane says Black Sabbath. Pretty close there. Steve Grimes, Black Sabbath. Yep. RC, Tim, 71 in chat. Throw Joe Daddy Garage a thumbs up. Yes. Shane says Sabbath. Yes, gotcha. Michael Pagliarini. See, I say that pretty well, don't I? Yeah. Iron Man, Black Sabbath. Yes. Kent, sorry, I meant Ozzy. That tells you what I was doing at the Metallica concert. Hey, I've seen Metallica. I enjoyed them. Black Sabbath did Iron Man. Yeah. Hello. Oh, Harvey showing up. Hello, Barry. But late but here. Happy Monday. Glad you're here, Harvey. Bob. That's a different name. Is that right? Is that how that's spelled? Bob Nolser? Nolser? Is that like no, sir? Are you missing a vowel? That's a different. Oh, Bob Knowles. Maybe it's Bob Knowles Sr. Did you change it on me, Bob? Play, but I'm here. How's everybody in the room? How are you, sir? I'm hoping that's Bob Knowles Sr. Is that what that means, Bob Knowles Sr.? I'm glad you're here. Terry Dobo gave my thumbs up. Awesome. Thank you, man. Steve, I have a 30-year-old Miller Cricket MIG welder that is still kicking. Yeah, I had a Miller Matic 130 that I bought back in probably 90s. And I could not, I used the life out of that thing. I mean, it was a fantastic welder. And I had something failing, and I don't remember what it was, but it wasn't feeding wire properly. And rather than go invest in getting it repaired, which I probably should have, would have been a smarter move, I sold it. I was just like, you know what? I don't want to mess with it. So I sold it. And then I went to the Lincoln. And I mentioned it before. I bought a Lincoln 140, and I never got it out of the, I hadn't even had it out of the box, and I had it at home, and somebody came to the body shop. They said, hey, I have a welder I want to sell. And I was like, what do you have? And they said, I have a Lincoln 140T, and it had the spool gun or something on it for the aluminum. And I was like, what do you want for it? And I don't remember. It was like $100 or something. It was brand new in a box. I don't know where he got it. He said he didn't. He bought it somewhere and he didn't want it. I was like, eh. So I bought it and I took the other one back and got my money back. So anyway, that's how I ended up with the Lincoln 140T that I have. And then I had somebody else offer me up the flux core welder, the Lincoln flux core. And again, it was a $100 welder. I said, here you go, $100, you can have it. I'm like, okay, cool. Wayward Phoenix, 1968 GTCS, like eating an elephant with chopsticks. Okay. I'll give you a bell for that. Dave Britton is here. Glad you're here, Dave. Kent, Metallica did a version in 2006 Hall of Fame tribute. Okay. Well, I need to look that up then. Because I'm sure that was impressive. Harvey just got robbed at the gas station. Thankful that Tina at least has a 5-speed. Like literally robbed or gas station robbed? Like you paid for gas. I'm going to guess it was the gas station that robbed you. Shane, my 220 volt and 110 MIGs are Lincolns. My stick welder is a Miller. Yeah. Okay, Bob, no, yes, it's me. Okay. Since you brought this up, Harvey, about the gas and gas station, in this, I know I've got a great group of people here that I can ask questions to, because I don't consider myself an electrical wizard. I mean, I can work with electrical stuff. I don't like it, but generally I can make it work and get stuff operational. So the question is, and I know a lot of people have this problem with your sending unit on your gas tank, right? A lot of times we don't get any feed at all. We don't get nothing on the gauge. And I know it could be an issue on, let's say, in my case, Jade. I've got a brand new sending unit in there. It's a brand new tank. And I've got the decoded digital gauges. So there is no problem with the gauge or the wiring going from the gauge to the tank. The question is, what do you do? Or what needs to be done? I know people have talked about adding an extra ground to the tank, to make sure it's got a good ground for it to function. I have not tried that yet, but the that's one problem that I have with the car is I'm not getting the indication of fuel. So if anybody has any input, by all means, let me know. And maybe that's a question that the group just needs to have an answer to as well. So there we go. There's my question. See if somebody can answer that. Shane, we already talked about that. Stick welders and Miller. And Bob, Harvey, gas station robbed $62 to fill my Ranger. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, that's, ouch. I don't even want to think about filling up my Suburban. No. My little Honda Fit, I can usually fill it up for about $28. So I'll just keep on hammering away at that. Ed, gas is still close to $6 in Southern California. Yeah. Jorge. Hello, Barry, and everyone else. Glad you're here. Randall, my Lincoln PowerMade 255 helped me weld an emergency brake bracket in the wrong location this weekend. Then it helped me weld in the right place after I figured out how to remove it. Yeah, that's a difficulty. You weld something in. Look how good that looks and solid. And oh, wait a minute, that's not going to work. Yeah. Roger, ground was the menace on Bella. Yeah. Robert, the new sending units are pretty poorly made. Lots of guys have issues with intermittent readings or flat out not reading. Yeah, I have not even tested it to see what it's working, but I know that I'm not getting a signal to or at least not to my fuel gauge. Boogie Bum, I hear they're replacing loan officers at the gas station so you can take out a loan for your next tank of gas. Yeah. Yeah, here, fill out this credit request. Harvey, can you short the signal wire to ground and read full on the gauge? I don't know yet. I have not tried it. So that's what I'm trying to figure out is what I need to do to make that happen. So Derek, idea for you, maybe contact Brian from Paint Society. He uses many products, does many different paint situations. Video with him showing process maybe. That's not a bad idea. Thank you, Derek. Steve, make sure the sender works. I've had a few bad ones. Yeah, a few new bad ones. Yeah, I need to check that. Robert says 383. Did it go back up? Because I know you were bragging to me that it was going down, and I know it was less than 383. It's maintained 375 here locally. Well, 374, and then we get 10 cents off if you have like a member thing. So 364 is what I've been paying. But what's weird is, really weird, locally, 2 miles up the road, I can pay $3.64 a gallon. I could drive up to an area around the airport, which normally you'd get higher price gas, but this is a little off to the side. They're selling gas for like $3.40. Almost 25-cent difference, and there's like 3 gas stations there all selling it cheaper. Like, how does that work? That should be a prime location, but it's cheaper, and I don't understand how that makes any sense. Clark, don't ground the sender wire to test it. A lot of old cars blow the gauge if you do that, at least as far as I can remember. Okay. Steve, $95 to fill up my 98 F-150. Ouch. Terry, definitely sounds like a ground thing. Yeah, it probably is, but I was hoping somebody would give me like, just do this and it'll be fixed. Rick, 419 here in Jacksonville. Yeah. Bob Knoll, it might just be a ground because did you insulate the tank to the body? Did you have anything between the outer lip of the tank and the edge of the No, I didn't. When I put the gas tank in that car, I didn't put any. There's supposed to be like a strip you put in there, or whatever, to seal it. I didn't put any of that in. So, yeah. So I didn't do that. So I'd assume that it would have had a good ground. Dave Britton just calculated gas in my area is $6.51 a U.S. gallon right now. Ouch. Ouch. Clark, $1.10 to fill my F-150 here. Oh, painful. Shane, this is what happens when dead people and machines vote. Yeah, let's go, Brandon. I got you. Robert was 362 till the other day. Yep. Robert says swap meet pics headed to your email. Okay. Okay. Let me download these real quick. You're gonna torture me with the Mach 1, aren't you? Ooh. Hold on a minute. Let me get that one. Yeah, we'll do that one too. I don't know if I can get all these pulled up on the on a stream or not, but I will try. Kent, by the way, I learned lots from your Mustang restoration. Thank God for your YouTube channel. I wish YouTube was as thankful, to be honest. I've talked about it before. I don't understand what kind of what has to happen, but I can tell you that my channel is getting more views, more time watched, more subscribers and stuff, and my revenue keeps going down. I don't get it. I don't get it. Just doesn't make any sense to me. And again, you know, we've talked about it before. The channels that usually get many more views and, you know, they cash in on money and blah blah blah. It's usually more about destruction and not the stuff that I do, which, you know, I get it, but I wish YouTube did more on their half to compensate me for what I do. Okay, so Robert has sent some pictures, so check this out. Let me pull that comment down real quick. That looks like a barn find, Robert. So that's a Fairlane 500. I'm not sure what year it is. Looks like maybe a 68, something like that. Yeah, that's the kind of car you just want to just wash it off, throw an engine in it, and just drive it the way it is. Don't do anything else. This one, Robert had sent me this picture before. This is torture. Now, according to Robert, and I guess the owner, that's an original car, 70 Mach 1, and they were selling it. I had a price on it for $26,000, which, honestly, I would have a hard time passing that up for that money. I'm assuming it's an automatic car, but still, if that thing is solid, I can't believe it sat there more than 10 minutes before somebody came by and bought it. $26,000 is what Robert had told me, and I just, I'm sorry, I would probably have to buy that car if I were there, one way or another. And then next up, I don't know what that is. I didn't get any information on that one. Beautiful car, though. Beautiful car. But I couldn't tell you what it was. Let's see what else we have coming up. Let's look at that Mustang again. I mean, come on. 26? I can't believe they were. That's like, to me, that's like giving a thing away. And then he had this thing, a Triumph. Those are interesting little cars. Interesting little cars. That one looks pretty solid, actually. And then this one I like a lot too. Check that out. That is a perfect patina car right there. Don't do anything else with it. Just drive it. I'm assuming that was probably mid 60s. Yeah. I mean, I might put some different wheels on it just for fun. But man, what a sharp car that is. And then the obligatory double cheeseburger, curly fries, and straight fries. Yeah. Great. Great. More stuff I want to eat. Randall, 508 for diesel here in Utah. My new Ram has a 50-gallon tank and a 30-gallon transfer tank. Whew. Yeah, that adds up real quick. Harvey, start at the tank, ground the signal wire, and if the gauge reads full, you just eliminate everything from the tank forward. That makes sense. That makes sense. You're right. That makes sense. Thank you. Dave, New Jersey sank below $4 for about 20 minutes last week. Then went back up to $4.25-ish again. Yeah. Yeah, no thank you. Dale, I paid $5.19 yesterday here in North California. Wow. Yeah. Keeps adding up. Terry, it's almost $5 for 94 high grade here in New Jersey. Yep. It's amazing how quickly they can take control of things, right? Charlie, okay, I'll chime in on our home heating oil. We have a winter-summer hookup boiler for hot water. So oil is used year-round. Heating oil is $5.69 a gallon, $850 for 150 gallons. Wow. Yeah. Too bad you can't use like motor oil. Then you could like get everybody's recycled motor oil. And it says no, he hasn't ordered yet. Yeah. Bob, I'm thinking about doing a conversion V8. To an inline six. You're thinking about going the other way? Going from a V8 to a six-cylinder? Well, it wouldn't be hard to do. Might sit a little high in the front end. Might. But yeah. Robert, the Mach 1 had no interior to speak of and looks better in the pic than in person. Okay, well, that makes me feel a little bit better, but, I mean, the picture looks good. It does, so that makes me feel a little bit better. Wayward Phoenix says, ditto Kent. So, about learning on the channel, I'm assuming. Well, good, I'm glad you're learning. Michael Pagliarini. Most K2 primers don't play well with grounds. Okay. All right. I'll keep that in mind. Ray Buckman. What? Now does it go down because Thursdays are no longer? What is the question there? I'm not sure what you're asking. I'm not sure what you're asking, Ray. Wayward Phoenix says, sweet. Must be referring to some of those cars. I think this is Jerry, right? Hello? I'm thinking, right, Jerry? I hope I'm right. Terry, I hear other YouTube people say that they want more short videos. Say they want more short videos. Well, I don't know. I've tried some of that too. I've tried doing short. I don't know. It just doesn't seem to do any good at all. I almost wish, I mean, I don't have a good following on this channel, but parts of me want to just like not do YouTube videos anymore. Just saying. There's parts of me that just like, what's the point? You know, I have 55,000 subscribers, and you can look at my videos, and anything I put up in weekly increments or whatever, they'll get 2,000 or 3,000 views. That's about 10% of my total subscriber count. So what does that mean? Well, it means I got people subscribing to the channel that aren't really doing anything with it. I have, lots of people that are doing Mustangs and they follow along, and that's fantastic. And I appreciate everybody, being involved. But I'll just tell you, I'll be honest. Currently, in the last several months, and it's just not getting any better. Basically, I'm making $50 a day off of YouTube. That's it. $50 a day for what I do. $50 a day. That's not much. That is not much. And it's frustrating. It is so frustrating. I've thought about doing a whole different approach where I make memberships or whatever on YouTube. But the thing is, YouTube takes half of the money. So honestly, I'm making technically $100 a day, but YouTube gets half of it. It's part of the system, how it works. But I have thought about that. How can I make it so that people, rather than contributing essentially to YouTube and their algorithms and their advertising format, what other avenue could I do? Because the reality is, let's put it this way. Like, I have people that support me on Patreon, and I'm very thankful for them. If I made my videos only available on Patreon, it wouldn't take much to have new members join my Patreon for me to be able to make more. Well, I mean, it would take a few, but I'd have to double my Patreon supporters at this point. But I feel like I could probably do that easier than gaining anything more on YouTube. So I've been really tempted to just say, you want to see what I do? It's on Patreon. I've really been tempted to go that route. Because YouTube, I don't know. I feel like I just feel like I'm being used by YouTube and their whole system. At least with Patreon, while they do take a cut of the revenue, it is not. It's a tiny percentage in comparison to what YouTube does. So that's what I've really been leaning that way. Like, put all the YouTube shorts. You want to see what I'm doing? Go to my Patreon. Join in, Maybe that's what I need to do. Because YouTube doesn't care. They don't care about me. I can tell you that. Derek, no better in Australia. Standard unleaded is approximately $8 a gallon, $2 a liter. Ridiculous. Yeah. Dave Britton, Derek, it is $2 a liter on the west coast here in Canada. Whew, terrible. Yeah. Just don't go anywhere, right? Or go out, like the government says, just go out and buy an electric car. Yeah. Go buy an electric car. That's all you have to do. Geniuses. Aaron, Jaguar of some type. You talking about this thing? I saw the Greyhound on the radiator as well. I don't know what that is. Robert didn't give me any info, so I blame Robert. I don't know what it is, but I know what this is, but not this. No, it was a 351 4-speed? Really? Now you got me back into buying the Mach 1 thing. Jeez. Derek says, Dave, I feel your pain. Dave Britton, I used to have a Rambler identical to that one in blue. Yeah. That would be, that's a sweet looking little car. Ray, nice Challenger in the background. Yeah, I saw that Challenger. Which one is that on? Yeah. I think that's what, 70 Is that like a 73 or something? That one looks a bit rough. A bit rough, but who knows? People are paying big bucks for that stuff now. Dave Britton, I think it is a 64 on the Rambler. Okay. Wayward Phoenix, was that in Houston? He's asking. Yeah. Somewhere over, I don't know, he'll probably tell you in a minute. Robert, the 65 Rambler was awesome, all original, great condition, interior, a little rust behind the rear wheels, but that was it. Was it for sale? I don't know if you told me it was for sale or not. Aaron, I just do a test light to bring that sensor wire low rather than just a straight wired jumper. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Thank you. Clark, I saw diesel for $614 here in New Jersey. Yeah. Shane, Robert, you don't see that too often. No, you don't. Wayward's, oh, okay. Phoenix paint swap meet. There you go. Robert, other than Classic from Oklahoma City. Oh, largest in the country. Let's see. Largest in the country now, but not a single resto company comes out here other than Classic from Oklahoma City. Okay. Gilsmith, 220 liter here in Western Canada for premium. That's about $9 a gallon. Well, you get the Bell. That one wins. That's the highest price. Wayward Phoenix. Okay. Rally, Harvey. We need some videos on building waste oil heaters. Put them on whatever channel you want. We will watch. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Robert, the Mach 1 would still be an easy project, though. Do the interior, whatever it needs, under the hood and drive it. Yeah, that's what I would do. Dave, not much of a fan of YouTube shorts myself. Yeah, I know. Well, they make the shorts, like the 1 minute videos, which is like a teaser type thing. And then the thing is, this is where it gets complicated. What do we consider a short video? Because YouTube, this is their catch. Your video has to be 8 minutes long, minimum, for you to monetize it. Okay? For you, it has to be 8 minutes. But like, I know Robert, they'll put his videos are monetized by YouTube. So Robert's not getting any kickback from his videos, but YouTube is getting it because they're putting ads on. So, you do an 8 minute video. Is that considered a short video? And it's hard for me to put together an 8 minute video. Like, I put out so much information and process that 8 minutes doesn't cover enough ground. So it becomes quite the challenge. Ray, I was referring to your income from YouTube. Did it grow? Did it go down because Thursdays are no longer? No. In fact, honestly, the live stream here, this doesn't really do anything. It just doesn't. They'll put ads on this video later, so if somebody watches it, ads will pop up and stuff like that. But it really doesn't. The live streams don't really help as far as revenue. So, Don, short videos equals more ad revenue. Well, yeah. I mean, if you mean that they'll pay more to have an ad on there, yeah, I could see that. Like, the last video I put out was 30 minutes long, and I think they put like 5 or 6 ads on it. Okay. But the whole system is rigged. It's just rigged. So, whatever revenue gets created, like I said, YouTube just takes half of it. Just right off the top. Forget it. Aaron says, start a Patreon. Yeah, I have a Patreon page. I actually do already. And I think I have like 59 people. 59 people that support me on Patreon. And I appreciate all of them. I really do. And I put out a video. I put out a video for Patreon every week that is about what's going on. I call it a shop update. And I talk about what I'm doing, what I'm working on, what the next video is going to be about, and blah, 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 stuff like that. And I do that for my patrons. Now, I could do something like that for YouTube. I could say, well, here's what I'm doing. Now, Patreon, what they try to do, this is where it gets kind of, again, there's all kinds of avenues that you go with this. So, what Patreon wants you to do typically is post a video that your patrons get to see early. That's their mindset, is give them, because they're your patron, they get to see it early. And I get that. And then you release it the next day on YouTube. Well, if I give it to my patrons early, which I'm not against, there's no ads on that, right? They're getting the reward, let's say, by being a patron. And then YouTube gets it, and then there's ads on that. Okay. But still, YouTube is taking their cut. So I've thought about, like I said, just putting my videos on Patreon and say, here's my short video. Now, it's a lot more work because you have to create a short video out of a long version and say, well, this is where you need to go to see the rest of the story, a.k.a. Paul Harvey. So, anyway. Derek, don't understand how some YouTubers have some really boring stuff and are rolling in cash, constantly buying stuff. I don't either. You know, I don't get it. I never have. I've been doing this. I've been making these videos 11 years now. I've tried a variety of things. No. Nope. Steve, I would be willing to pay for a membership to have access to your videos. You have very valuable information. Well, thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. You know, that's the other thing YouTube has for the monetization thing, is you can have kind of direct people into a membership program. The difficulty is YouTube takes their cut. They still grab the cash and run with it. And so while it helps out the viewers, and I appreciate people being viewers, the net profit money, the bigger, still goes to YouTube. Still goes to YouTube. Wayward, there needs to be another platform. I don't like YouTube as a viewer either. You should be on Patreon. Yeah, I'm on Patreon. But I'm tempted just to put it straight on Patreon. The lit typer says hi. Robert, YouTube keeps going from one end to the other. One day they want 10-minute videos, then they want your hour-long videos, then they want shorts. They don't know what they want. They don't really care as long as they're getting their money. They don't really care. Steve says directly to you, not YouTube. Okay. Well, I understand that, Steve. Yeah, if you did a membership thing. And maybe that's my thing, is I'm going to just say, hey, I'm going to just post a Patreon if you want to see what I'm doing, and here it is. I've seen other channels where other people have like an independent website, which I have a website, but there's something going on that I can't access it. And so I don't know what the name of what the guys are, but they're showing detailed videos of how to put in a gas tank, or same thing I'm doing on YouTube. But they're doing it as a monthly pay thing, because right now my Patreon, what I'm doing is I'm putting videos on Vimeo. Okay, so I'm paying for a service from Vimeo so that I can upload videos on there and then put them on Patreon and put them on with a password. So only people with the password on Patreon get to see the video on Vimeo. So that's kind of how that's been working. So, I want to reward the people that are helping me and participating. So, Dave, PewDiePie is one that kills me. Nothing interesting at all, and the guy makes a fortune. Yeah, there's several of those. I saw some. I'll try to be nice. Some fool who apparently does reaction videos. He reacts to something else that somebody makes. And he's got like 1 billion subscribers. And he gets 500,000 views as soon as he turns on his computer. I'm like, so you want me to just react? Oh, gosh. Look at that. Who knew? I mean, I don't know. Short attention span theater. Robert, it's a Lincoln Continental A34. So we're talking about the cool looking car. Lincoln. Cool. Awesome. Derek. Let's see. Oh, Derek Pro no better in Australia. Standard unleaded is approximately $8 a gallon, $2 a liter. Okay. Robert, there were only two, and I say two Chrysler cars in one truck. Chryslers virtually don't exist here. No one to ask about the Rambler. Well, that's unfortunate. Dave, little car is a Healy bug-eyed Sprite, maybe Sprint. Someone local to me is selling just a nose off of one, and it's very tempting for some garage art. I'm not sure about that. It says Triumph right on the hood. I can see it. Triumph. But I get it. Bug-eyed Sprite. I know. But it says Triumph. Right on the hood. It would be some cool garage art, though. Aaron, I feel bad for all the Canadians not only buying gas by the liter, but also in CAD to grind salt into the wound. Okay. People are more interested in VGG acting like an idiot on YouTube than watching quality work that you put out. Yeah, I'm with you. Exposing losers. I'm an island boy. I'm just trying to make it. Yeah, those clowns, right? Don't get me started. Michael, most states don't let you use waste oil burners in a residential home. Well, you just don't tell them. Dawn's manufacturing. Good night, everyone. Honeydews are calling. All right, thank you, Dawn. Glad you were here. Rick, what if you sub to YouTube Premium so you don't get ads? Do you benefit from video watches then? Yes. Yeah, I do, actually. I do get a percentage if you are a YouTube Premium member. But again, YouTube gets half of whatever that number is. Clark, I would wait and see if Elon buys this too. Yeah, that would be awesome. Aaron, could you just upload unlisted to YouTube for your Patreon, and that way you don't have to pay also Vimeo? If I post unlisted videos, that's all well and good until somebody finds it. What I've learned from that is, even though it's unlisted, what that really means is it's just not being broadcast that it's available. So somebody searching can find that unlisted video, and if they just start sharing it, well, then it doesn't matter at that point. So yeah, it's a tricky situation on that. Derek, maybe you need to dress in a tutu or something. Yeah, I could start doing some cleavage, right? People love that. Some girl riding on a tractor, get 1 million views. Rick says, post videos of your wife's cats, guaranteed to get thousands of views. No, we're not going to go there. I won't, because I'd have to duct tape them to the floor, I think. Let's see. Robert says TR3, I don't fit. Yeah, that would be a really, really tight. Okay, so we have, I want to turn my P71 into a hot rod, but don't know where to start. P71? I'm not sure what a P71 is, so you lost me on that. Terry, can we have a Junkyard story? Let me think on that for a minute. Dave Conville, Triumph. I guess I've been inhaling too much upholstery glue here in the C10. Let me think about a Junkyard story. Trying to remember if there was something. I'm sure I've talked about it before. Gosh, you got me thinking there. hold on a second. Aaron, you don't have to tape them to the floor. Just put a line of tape down their backs and watch them freak out. That would be fun. Derek, on a tractor, LOL, sounds like a plan. Should do it for a stir. Might get 1 million views. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I just have to put on a little bikini top and ride around on a tractor. Yeah. Apparently there's people that are getting millions of views from that stuff. Oh, okay. Police interceptor. Okay. Well, I didn't know what a P71 is. Sorry. You probably shouldn't have to do much to it then. Just make sure it's painted black and you're good to go. Then it's a hot rod. And I think I've talked about this story before. I think. You know, I know I've brought up stuff in the past, but I can't remember. I can't remember all of them. You know, which ones I've talked about. So, I'll talk about one with. Let me think here. Me and my brother. Just because. And you can say if I've already, I don't know, if I've already talked about this one, I don't know. But back in the day, we used to, build all kinds of stuff. So there was a time where we took I think it was a Dodge, it was like an Aspen wagon, like late 79 or something, Aspen wagon, and we put it on a four-wheel drive chassis. Somebody wanted to have a four-wheel drive Aspen wagon, so we built a four-wheel drive Aspen wagon. So there's always been some sort of thing that was being built or modified. But early on, my brother would experiment because our dad had, he would build like dune buggy stuff. So he would take an old Volkswagen and roll the body off of it and just drive it around. Just make a little, go-kart dune buggy out of it. But there was always the idea of taking a full-size car and shortening it up and making it into a smaller, maybe off-road, maybe not vehicle. So I can't tell you what the car was that my brother decided to cut up, but I can tell you it was a unibody car. It did not have a frame. At least I don't think it had a frame. I was probably 7, I'm guessing, 7 or 8 years old. So he would have been about 14, somewhere in that range, maybe 15. But anyway, he took this car and he cut it up and he shortened it. Now, the problem when you do that sort of thing is you have to have structure. And I think he was thinking if I just cut out a section in the middle and just weld it back together, it'll be fine. So he did. And he shortened up the drive shaft, and the car had no roof on it. It had no doors on it. I don't think it had any quarter panels on it. I think it was just the basic like the wheelhouse area and the floor pan from the back. In fact, he had shortened this thing up so much. I think there was just enough room for a seat, and if I remember, it only had one seat. So he gets this thing all welded together, and he decides, let's go for a ride. I'm a little brother. I'm like, okay, whatever. Again, no doors. It had no exterior structure on it. And so we went out, and where we lived, there was some big long hills and stuff, and a paved road. And he's out trying to drive this thing around and have some fun with it. And it very easily, if he had tried to slide it or something, it would have just launched me out of the thing because there was no seat on my side. There was no seat belts. There was no windshield. There was really nothing of this car. And I still to this day don't know what it was. But he ended up, we're driving around, and it was like 11 o'clock at night. Our parents weren't home. At least I don't think they were home. I'm pretty sure they weren't because they would have known we were out there. And we went off. We were a couple miles away from the junkyard, and the thing broke. Like, it came undone on the passenger side. He had welded enough onto the driver's side, but the passenger side, whatever he had welded together didn't stay. And so the car went like this on the passenger side. So it was like just all contorted. Well, we had to get home. And now he was panicking because if we had to call somebody, or, we call somebody, we'd have to go find somebody with a phone first. If we had to go home and get a truck or something and to get this thing, and you can't leave this thing on the side of the road. So basically, he had me put my back against what would be the back seat area, the wheelhouse type of area, the differential tunnel, let's say. So I'm on the floor, and I had my back against it, and I had to push my feet against the dash of the car in order to get the frame to come back up off the ground, whatever the unibody, to get it to come back up off of the ground. And we had to drive it was about 1.5 miles, I think. So I'm holding the car together with my little legs, like I said, 7, 8, maybe 9 years old, maybe. Pushing up as hard as I can to try to keep this car together, and he's trying not to hit bumps because it's going to push and bounce me down, so we can't go fast. And it was terrible. It was like, this seemed like such a good idea. Take little brother out for a ride in a car. And we managed to make it back, and I don't remember what happened after that. All I know is I was in so much pain. My back hurt, my legs hurt. I was just happy to get home and get out of this thing and get away from it. So I don't know if we ended up scrapping that, but later on we did, probably within the next year or so, we did make some dune buggies out of 66 Chevy Impalas, which seemed to be the go-to vehicle because it had a full frame, had a full perimeter frame. And so we would cut the body off, roll it off the car, and then shorten the frame. I think it was 3 feet. Weld it back together, and then put a roll cage on it. So imagine that. You've got a frame floor. Well, and then I think he put 1/4 inch or 3/8 inch plate steel on the floor pan. Made it all out of solid steel. Had a drive shaft that was like that long. But picture that, a 283 small block, 2-speed power glide with this little dirt track car, basically, is what it became, because those cars had coil springs in the back so you could lop off the frame rails. It was a cool fun little dune buggy thing, but that first one was terrible, and then we progressed into the more advanced dune buggy stuff. So there you go. That's your junkyard story time. And I may have talked about that before. I don't remember. Let's see. Where are we at? Roger says, please, no, I live next door. Yeah. No bikini, huh? It is black, but I want to change the 4.6 liter engine. Oh, well, okay. Then whatever, the choice is yours as to what you want to go with, but I don't know what's compatible with your transmission and stuff as far as the 4.6 and what'll fit. Derek says, hindsight, maybe you can go in the video also chasing bear with a broom on a ride-on mower, a bit of crazy stuff. We need to laugh in this world. Yeah, I mean, we could do some goofy stuff here. Yeah. Robert says, I'm thinking Benny Hill now. Yep. Benny Hill music. Yep. All right. Shane says, good night all. Yeah, I'm going to call tonight too. I got to get in the house. Throat's starting to get rough. I can feel it. So, I want to thank you all for being here, of course. Terry says, you're lucky you didn't get killed. Yeah, I know. There's been lots of situations where it could have been either one of us got killed. Yeah. Good times. Anyway, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? Not necessarily. Anyway, I plan to get more done on a Camaro this week. I'm going to work with the Media Blaster. There's the hole punch. There's a variety of things that I want to get accomplished. So that's the plan. But that'll be it for tonight. I want to thank you all for being here and participating. And I'll be back again on Monday night at 7 next week. Hope you all have a good week and a good weekend. See ya.